Hi, everybody. This is Miss Jurgens, and I'm here to talk to you all about rotations. That is what this video is going to cover. Before I do an example with you all, I want to review a little bit about what it means to rotate something. So first of all, a rotation is a type of transformation. And there's 4 different kinds of transformations. There's rotations, reflections, translations, and dilations. So this video is just going to cover rotations, and we're talking about rotating something on a coordinate plane. So here we go. When we rotate something, we're talking about either going clockwise, which would be, if you're following my mouse, this is clockwise. Counterclockwise would be going this way. Okay, so you just have to think about a clock going clockwise and counterclockwise. All right, and you're either going to rotate something 90 degrees, 180 degrees, or 270 degrees. And it will specify if you're going clockwise 90 degrees or counterclockwise 90 degrees. So for example, let's say I have a spot right here, okay? If I want to go 90 degrees clockwise, well, I'm going this way, all right? And 90 degrees clockwise would put this point right here. I don't know what happened to my arrow there. All right. If we want to go 180 degrees from this spot, from our original spot, well, here we went 90. If we go another 90 degrees, that's 180. All right. And if I go another 90 degrees, then that's 180. All right. Or 270. I'm sorry. 90, 180, 270. It's the same exact thing if you're going the other direction. So let's say I've got a point here. If I'm going to go 90 degrees counterclockwise, I'm just going that way, 90 degrees. My arrows are weirdly correcting into a straight line here. 180 degrees, I would go another this way. That's 180. And then 270 puts me right there. So that's what it looks like as we rotate something around the origin. We're going to go ahead and do an example here together. So my instructions tell me exactly what I'm doing. I've got a triangle here, okay? And my instructions tell me that I'm going to rotate this triangle, STU, that's the name of our triangle, 180 degrees clockwise. So that means I need to move it one time for 90, and then another time gets me to 180. And we want to go this way because that is clockwise. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and figure out what my original points are. All right. So we haven't done anything yet. So triangle STU is our pre-image. It's where we're starting. And let's go ahead and figure out what all of our ordered pairs are for our pre-image. So I'm going to start with point S, all right, which is right here. And to get to S, I go to the right 2, so that's a positive 2. And I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4. And since I went up, that's a positive 4. For point T, I'm going to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gets me to T. And since I went to the right, again, positive 5. And I go up 1, 2, 3, positive 3 for my Y value. And U, I'm going to the right just one spot, positive 1. And I'm going up 1, 2. So I have a positive 2 there. All right. Now, when I rotate this, and rotate, that's what these arrows mean, is that I'm rotating this point. I'm transforming it. I'm rotating it. That's going to get me S prime, okay? After we rotate something, that becomes our image, okay? And that little tick mark means it's going to be the image. It's after the rotation, Okay, so if I rotate something 90 degrees here, so this is an image rotated, let's put that there. Let's make sure we specify that 90 degrees. And I'm just going to put a C for clockwise. Okay, so 90 degrees clockwise is how I'm rotating it. And that is bringing me to my image. When I rotate something, if I'm going to my next quadrant over, okay, what I need to do with my X and Y values is I need to switch them. So my X value was a 2 here, and my Y value was a 4. I'm going to switch those. So now it's going to be 4, 2, okay? But I'm not totally done yet, okay? I know I'm going to this quadrant right here. I know my X value is 4, so I'm going over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and my Y value is 2. All right, now if I go up, that puts me in the same spot, okay, the same quadrant that my shape is already in. So I'm not actually going to go up because I know I need to move to this quadrant. So I'm actually going to move down 2, which means that my Y value here isn't a positive 2, it's a negative 2. You have to think about that when you are doing your rotations here. Okay, you have to think about what your X and Y values are. So when we're in this quadrant here, I have a positive X because all of these X's are positive, all right? But my Y values are negative. So as we rotate 90 degrees clockwise, my X's are going to be positive and my Y values are going to be negative. So let's think about that as we do the same thing with point T. And actually, before I do this, I want to go ahead and label this. This was S. Before I even do my next one, I want to make sure I label this as S prime. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and do the same thing for T. All right. So first thing I know is that I need to switch my X and my Y values. So instead of being 5, 3, I need it to be 3, 5. And then remember, since we're moving into this quadrant 90 degrees, my Y value has to be negative. So it's not going to be a positive 5, it's going to be a negative 5. When I plot this point, T right here, I'm going to do exactly what I've got. So positive 3, 1, 2, 3, negative 5, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. I'm going to go ahead and connect these two and write that as T prime. Let's go ahead and look at our last point here. If I can get this to go, there we go. All right, U prime, I'm going to switch X and Y. So instead of 1, 2, it's going to be 2, comma, and I know my Y has to be negative because every Y value in this quadrant is negative. So that's going to be a negative 1 right there. And I'll go ahead and plot that point. Positive 2, 1, 2, down to negative 1 right there. And I will connect my points. I can also connect these two. There we go. And I want to make sure I write this as U prime. That kind of looks like a V. I apologize. It is a U, okay? Bear with me. All right, so that would be how I rotate 90 degrees. But my instructions here say that I need to rotate it 180 degrees. So I'm not done yet. All right, I need to now rotate all of these points another 90 degrees. So I've got U prime is 2, negative 1. T, oops, I don't want to start with U. Let's start with S. That would be better to start with S. S prime was 4, negative 2. All right, and you do want to do the prime points here. You do want to do your image, okay? Because we've already rotated the first set, so we need to rotate my image here, okay? I have t prime, which is 3, -5, and I have u prime, which is 2, -1, right? Now this has kind of become our pre-image now because we're rotating it again, okay? And we're rotating it another 90 degrees clockwise to our new and final image. And 90 plus 90 is 180 degrees. Both of them are clockwise, all right? So that's going to give me my final answer. So now, before I do anything, I'm going to go ahead and go over here and let's figure out what my x and y values are in this quadrant. Well, if I think of my x's here, these are all negative. So I know that it's -x. And my y values going down in this quadrant, these are all negative as well. So in this quadrant, my y values are also negative. So I know that whatever my new image is here, whatever my rotated triangle is, I'm going to have a -x and a -y. We're still going to flip these again. Every 90 degrees that you rotate, you have to switch your x and your y values, okay? So I'm going to switch these. I'm going to have my 2 first and then my 4, and then this tells me that both of those numbers have to be negative. So I've got a -2. I don't want a new box here. I want to stay in my original box. There we go. -2 and -4. I've switched the numbers and then I've made them both negative because that's what happens in this quadrant. I can go ahead and plot that point now. Oh, you know what I really need to do though before I do this? This isn't just S, this is S double prime. We've moved it once. We're moving it a second time, so I need 2 tick marks here. So that's S double prime. Now I'll go ahead and plot the point. So S double prime is -2, -4. -2 tells me I go to the left 2, and then I go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. I will go ahead and label that. That is S, and then I've got double prime. Now let's look at T. T, double prime, I want to flip my numbers for x and y. So instead of 3, -5, the 5 is going to come first, but I also need to make sure they're both negative. So I have a -5, -3. Let's go ahead and plot that point. -5 means I'm going to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -3 tells me I'm going down. 1, 2, 3. Right there. Let's go ahead and connect those points. And let's label that as T double prime. I've got my last point here. This is U double prime. Let's switch our x and our y values. So I'm going to have 1 first and then 2. But again, remember, you've got to make them both negative because that's what's in this quadrant. And now I can go ahead and plot that point. -1, I'm going to the left 1. -2, I'm going down 1 and 2. I'll connect my last points here. And I want to label it as U. Ooh, that was a better U than my last one. Double prime. Double prime. All right. So this here would be your final answer. I'm going to erase this arrow. All right, so you can just see what I've got here. When we're rotating the triangle 180 degrees, that means I have to rotate it 90 and then rotate it 90 again. Okay, so that's why we had to do this twice. If you're rotating something just 90 degrees, this would be the only thing, this first top section would be the only thing you have to do. Now, let's say it's asking you to rotate it 270 degrees. You need to rotate that one more time because this was 90, this is 180. To do it again, you have to rotate that object one more time. All right, but you still do it the same way. You'd switch your X and your Y. In this quadrant, your X values to the left, they're negative, so I know it's negative X. My Y, all of these go up, so my Y's are all going to be positive. So you would just need to make sure that you've got the right positive and negatives for your X and for your Y. All right, and then this quadrant where we started, those are all positive X's, and they're also positive Y's. So just to recap, a couple things you need to know when you're rotating something. If you're going clockwise, you follow the clock, going around in that circle, just like we did in this example. If it tells you clockwise, you're just going to go the opposite direction, okay? No matter which direction you go, you're going to flip your X and your Y value, and then you're going to look at what quadrant you're in to decide if your X is positive or negative, or if your Y is positive or negative. And then you can plot those points. All right, I think that's everything I have for you on rotations. Hopefully this helped you. This was a good review for you, and good luck.